Meow meow, this is Onyx the Fortuitous, star of Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls. I don't know. And you're listening to the Horror Squad podcast. It's pretty cool.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast. This is episode number 345, where tonight we are going to be talking about 1998's Blade, starring Wesley Snipes, of course. I'm here, as always, with Steve and Todd. I'm not going to waste any more time. We have been teasing this for a very long time, our very super secret project. We are going to tell you, folks, what it is right now. Todd, take it away, buddy.
We are doing the Horror Squad calendar shoot. Everyone's asked for it. Bikinis, Speedos, which is funny because everyone has talked about that and asked for that for a long time. That's not what it is. We're super excited, man. This has been a project that we've been talking about for, it seems about a couple of years now, joking back and forth, and now we're making it happen. And we're excited to talk about that we are finally making the Horror Squad podcast movie. What is the title, you might ask?
The final episode.
Final episode. Awesome. So essentially, it's an anthology film kind of based upon the podcast where, we do our normal Horror Squad podcast thing. And we have this super fan, I guess you can call him, that is obsessed with this, right? And it's loosely based on a couple of things in the past that happened. And this gentleman, begs us to review his film. Like, please review a short film over and over and over again. We don't want to because it's like very bad quality. We don't want to be mean and everything like that. It gets to the point where he gets fed up and he kidnaps Joe, Steve, and myself at a convention and brings us back to his little decrepit lair and forces us to watch his film and review it. Meanwhile, we are explaining to him what makes a good film, which goes into some of the parts of the anthology. For example, my character, myself, would be explained to the guy like, hey, like, this is what a good slasher movie is, and then I start talking about it, which transitions into the actual short film. So my short film, and Steve and Joe will talk about this shortly. My short film is called Special Delivery, and it centers around a mailman, this everyday happy-go-lucky awesome dude that everyone loves, and he gets wrongfully murdered by a group of drunk drivers. And then he's brought back to life to seek his revenge on this group of people. So I'm going for like a goofy 70s/80s, ultra violent, full of gore and blood, all practical effects, just slasher and mayhem. And I guess we'll lead that off into Joe. Would you like to go?
Sure, yeah. My story is going to be, working title right now is called, I'm calling it The Summoning, subject to change though. And this story is going to be about a couple that is sort of, I wouldn't say they're in they're in a loving relationship, but basically the girlfriend wants her boyfriend to commit to marriage or take the next step in the relationship. He is just so busy with work and wanting to get his promotion and stuff, and just, kind of waiting for the perfect time. So in order to speed things up, she decides to go out and do a spell, sort of incantation thing, because she practices witchcraft, and the spell goes wrong. And I'll leave it at that. Steve?
Yeah, so my story is called Mind Killer, and it's a story of a guy who he's a big fan of really shitty movies on Tubi and stuff. I know, crazy. And he starts losing grip with reality. He starts seeing everyone and everything, like every living thing in the world as himself. And he also starts seeing like B movie, like trashy movie killers everywhere. And those killers start speaking to him and they start asking him to bring in victims so they can kill. And then he goes to see like a psychiatrist and he tries to figure out like his issues. Is what's happening real? Is it not real? Is he there for another purpose? That's kind of what my movie is, kind of taking my love of uh like really trashy movies, bad horror films that are fun and entertaining, and putting my own little twist on it. So yeah, that's my story.
Very cool, very cool. And yeah, like I said, we're going to be pitching these ideas to our captor, and he's going to decide if he likes them or not, and we'll see what happens after that. Where we're at with the project right now is they're all written. The three main features in the anthology are all done. We've started production on special delivery. We started pre-production on the other ones, you know, looking for locations, actors and actresses, things like that. And we're super excited too to offer a crowdfunding campaign via Indiegogo, which will launch probably within the next week and a half, 2 weeks, sometime early September. We got to work out the kinks with that. But we're offering like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna buy some of these too. We're offering a bunch of perks, you know, talking about signed DVD, artwork, stickers, magnets, working scripts, props with blood on them, masks, everything in there that in the movie. Oh, you can either be part of your picture in there, you can have your voice in there, you can design something with Steve and meet with him via Zoom and like talk about, you know, designing one of his killers that his character thinks he sees. And it's just gonna be fucking wild ride, man. Everything's written up. We're just ready to push enter on the launch button and get it going for you guys. But I'm fucking pumped. I know Joe and Steve are pumped, and we can't wait to share more with you guys.
Absolutely. So, yeah, join the Discord. I'm sure they'll get first dibs on, you know, letting people know sort of when we are going to launch this. I think we'll probably give Discord maybe a 24-hour, you know, advance notice so they can go out and scoop some of those more rare perks. So if you haven't already, definitely join the Discord. Completely free to join. Of course, it's linked over on our Instagram, or send us a DM or an email, and we'll get you a link to join that Discord. But yeah, the perks are going to be, there's a lot of fun perks in there. Like as far you can name some of my characters in the movie and stuff like that. And
Within
I
reason.
also I also have the most expensive perk in the entire campaign that I am not expecting anyone to purchase. But if you want an amazing silicone, like
One of
movie
a
grade
kind.
mask, one of a kind, Todd actually is like, Joe, you should really not sell this. You should really keep it for yourself.
I would, but hey.
And I tend to somewhat agree with them, but I think if someone's willing to pay for it and wants to own a, you know, probably the most important piece of the movie, hey, have at it. So yeah, it's gonna be awesome. We're really excited to launch this. Yeah, as far as when the movie's gonna come out, we'll see. You know, it's gonna take a bit of time. So we ask you to just be patient with us for sure, because we are planning on traveling, you know, based on what we make off this crowdfunding, you know, to each other, so we can all help each other out and film and be in each other's movies and stuff like that. So, you know, I think tentatively we're slating it for hopefully late 2026 or mid 2026. Does that sound right, guys?
Yeah, best case scenario, late 2025, probably realistic scenario, mid 2026, I would guess.
Yeah,
But it's honestly, it comes down to crowdfunding because we're gonna make the film regardless. But you know,
right.
the more we had to work with, the easier it'll be, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, so this is sort of like, yeah, just a call to the listeners to help us out. I mean, we don't, like I said, we're gonna make it regardless. But if you want to support us, this is a call to help support, get this movie made and make it the best we can possibly make it. So we thank you in advance for
Yeah.
anyone that is going to donate to this crowd fund. And if you don't, just spread the word. Help spread the word about the movie, especially once it comes out. The goal is to get it on Tubi eventually. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, we're excited, and we thank you all in advance for supporting this when we are launching it, which will be within the next week or two. So stay tuned, and we will definitely announce it here on the podcast.
Yeah, another quick shout out to Discord too. We're definitely going to be dropping like behind the scenes stuff in there. So I would definitely sign up, not only for like, you know, heads up when perks go live and all that stuff, but also for, you know, you can come along with our journey in making this film because it's gonna be a fucking blast. And I'm like, every time I think about it, I get pumped and excited. Every time I talk to you guys about it, I'm like, get giddy and shit. So Steve, what you got?
Yeah, I'm super, super pumped. And we already have some like fantastic people helping us out with this. And yeah, it's awesome. Like I'm just really excited to do this. You know, I went to film classes a long time ago and got away from it because of life and my job and everything. So I'm really psyched to kind of do something and with you know, my friends here. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. And you know, just I'm sure we'll talk about it a ton over the next little while, but come along for the ride. It'll be a very interesting project.
All right. Awesome. So stay tuned. We'll be announcing that extremely soon. The crowdfunding over on Indiegogo, which we'll have it linked everywhere, and we'll definitely be pushing it once it does hit. But all right, I think that's it. So Steve, why don't we spill a little tea?
Let's spill it.
Oh, you want the tea? I'm sorry. We don't serve tea. Nope. Instead, you get a cup of Joe. And now here's Joe with the news.
All righty. Thank you so much, Chuck. And here we go. Your cup of Joe for this week. Let's start off with, it's been kind of a slow couple weeks in the news, but I think one of the biggest things that has come out in the past couple weeks is A24's Crystal Lake TV series is back, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, most recently, the original showrunner had been decided to leave the project, and it was sort of in limbo. No one knew what was going to happen to this show, but it has been announced that a new showrunner has been hired for this year. Of course, Brian Fuller, the original one who did the Hannibal TV series, decided to depart the project, but we have someone back. And now they have hired Brad Caleb Kane to take over as the new showrunner. Probably don't know the name, but you might know it very soon because he is going to be doing the It Welcome to Derry series that is going to be premiering on HBO Max very soon. He will be serving as a series creator, showrunner, writer, and executive producer for this series. And that's really all I got for now. As far as that, where this is going to go from here, we shall see. But it's going to happen. It's happening. And I mean, first of all, I know you guys are movies. Todd's like movies. Don't care. But you are the biggest Friday the 13th fan. I know.
I do care. Just come on.
I know. But you are the biggest Friday the 13th fan I know. Well, on the show anyway, but probably I know. And does this perk you up at all with A24? Or are you like, man, I don't really like that A24 is doing this as a Friday the 13th slasher fan?
I don't know, man. It's like, where do you go with it, honestly? I know Adrienne King's attached to it, which is pretty dang cool news. She plays Alice. But if it's like a prequel or whatever, or we get like no one wants to see young Jason. Like, does anyone want to see that? I don't think so. Does anyone want to see Pamela? No. I just think that the formula is super easy. You get Jason in the woods at a campground with some, young adults, and you fucking kill him. I don't know why you need to rewrite the will. It doesn't even make any sense. Rewrite the will. I'm keeping it, but I don't know why you have to just like try to reinvent everything. It's just, I don't know. So am I excited? No. A24, I enjoy most of the films, but TV show Crystal Lake, nah, I'm not excited about it. Plus Brad Kane, man, I'm looking at his filmography and it's like Tokyo Vice, Warrior, bunch of random TV, Lodge 49, Black Cells. I know that was popular, like Fringe, Crash. I don't know. I don't see a lot of horror stuff in here, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, are you guys? This made me completely remember, honestly, the It Return to Derry TV series that's on HBO Max too. Like, I'm pretty excited. I think I'm more excited for that than I am for this Friday the 13th series.
That's in production, right? I thought I saw some set.
I think it's
pics.
like already been filmed.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think it's in post production, and I think it's supposed to be. Is it coming out this year?
Early next year, I think, like January or February or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that makes more sense, though. I think that property makes more sense for like a traditional TV show than Jason does.
Yeah, I mean, I guess because there's a lot like Pennywise can do that can be explored. He can take so many different shapes and stuff like that. But we'll keep you updated. We'll keep you updated on both as things progress. I think you're right. I think that was the reason Fuller exited, though, is because I think they are going to go the route of like hockey mask Jason rather than Pamela and Kid Jason. But we'll see. We'll keep you guys up to date once more becomes available. Let's stay on the TV show train because Poltergeist has also hired their showrunners for their television series. This is going to be an Amazon property, so expected to come, I assume, on Prime when it does hit. But they have hired Kalinda Vasquez and Robbie Thompson. Kalinda Vasquez, known for Fear the Walking Dead, and Robbie Thompson for the TV show Supernatural. Exact plot details are currently under wraps, but they said it is going to be inspired by, of course, the original 1982 movie. I assume they're going to go the route and just redo the first movie like over again, but in TV show format. I am probably the biggest Poltergeist fan out of the three of us, so I am pretty darn excited about this. I think they could make it pretty creepy and pretty scary, so we'll see. It's going to be tough, man, because like Carol Ann and Tangina, like how do you replace like those two sort of iconic characters today? But we'll see what happens. Any excitement there, guys, or whatever?
No, I'm like the TV shows, man. Like, you know, even if I was excited, I still probably wouldn't watch them. You know, I'd put them on my list, and then it sit on my list for a long time, and eventually I'm like, yeah, no, I'm just not gonna. I'm just gonna remove it off my list. You know, that's kind of my.
What is one what is one horror property where you're like, you would watch it? You're like, okay, this is like, because you watched fucking like 20 seasons of The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I did because I like zombies, right?
Yeah.
But
so if they made a Dawn of the Dead TV series, that would be like your ultimate goal, or?
Well, I'm kind of zombie, like, you know, like I got my fill with The Walking, and they have like so many fucking spin-offs and shit. But like, I'll probably watch the Friday the 13th one because I'm curious about A24 if they bring back Jason in a mask. You know, what Todd said is very true. Like, I don't want to see a fucking prequel. I just want to see Jason killing some people. You know, that's basically all I want to see. I'd probably watch a Halloween one the same way. I would definitely watch a Nightmare on Elm Street one because I really like that character. So I'm just more like stuff like Poltergeist and Conjuring and stuff. Even though I like the movies, I don't know, man. Like, I just don't think it's needed, you know. And like, I watched the Scream one, and I didn't like that one at all. So
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, a lot of people did, I think.
I think a property might work would be Trick or Treat. You know, it's already an anthology film. I think a show would gel nicely.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah. Well, supposedly the sequel's coming very soon.
We'll heard that 15 years.
Right.
Isn't Halloween in production, or is that just a thought right now? Because I thought they were going back to Haddonfield with like did I make that up?
There's definitely been a lot of like fake shit been like flying around online, but I don't think currently anything is being talked about. I mean, you know it's coming.
Green ended that series for now. So.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Alrighty. Well, what about the Alien TV series? That's coming soon. FX.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be I think it's 20 years before Alien is what the original Alien is. So supposedly this year. They still haven't given a release date, but they keep saying 2024, or actually might be next year. So we'll see about that. But TV shows, folks, horror TV shows, be ready.
Hot right now.
They're coming. So hot right now. All right. Next bit of news. File this one under random, because what if I told you we are going to be getting, potentially in talks, an Anaconda reboot starring Jack Black and Paul Rudd? Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Currently, it is being reported by THR, a very reputable source, that Jack Black and Paul Rudd are in very early talks to star in this movie. The new story will involve a group of friends facing midlife crises who are remaking their favorite movie from their youth. They head to the rainforest only to find themselves in a fight for their lives against natural disasters, giant snakes, and violent criminals. So it sounds like it's going to be very meta, sort of a group of Anaconda superfans who want to remake the movie and encounter a real-life Anaconda.
So they're remaking Anaconda in their movie.
Yes, that's what it sounds like.
It's like Be Kind Rewind, but with horror. I don't know. I mean, I think everyone loves Jack Black and Paul Rudd, myself included. So, I mean, at least they're cool cool actors.
Jack Black very controversial right now, actually, after the whole Kyle Gass firing.
Oh my gosh,
kicked him out of his own band. But But yeah, he's trying to get back on the up and up. I mean, he's very like people are pretty split on him right now.
I
But
mean, the Borderlands movie fucking tanked.
oh, bad,
Yeah,
bad.
probably the biggest flop this year, I imagine.
I don't know,
Or
the
the Crow.
Crow's kind of like
Crow's-
coming in hot. You know?
the Crow's heading
I-
that way too. But Borderlands had such a huge budget.
Yeah,
That's
right.
got to be definitely the
I
biggest
can
flop.
see like the lady crowd really getting after the Crow though and seeing it just because like the the gothic hot dude shit. But even though like
I'm
a lot of
actually
reviews are shitting on it.
apparently it's getting like semi decent word of mouth too. Like people are coming out being like, it's really not that bad.
awful.
Like so, yeah. But we'll see. Man, do you think Eli Roth will ever get another studio to back him? Because like, every like major studio that gives him a movie, he just fucking
Just
drops
horror,
the
I think,
ball,
at this
man.
point.
Yeah, he needs to
Yeah.
stick to that.
Yeah. It's too bad. I mean, he's
He's talented.
he's talented horror like director, but yeah, I mean, maybe just
It's just a weird property
away.
for him to do.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't like a weird choice to even let him direct in the first place, I guess. But have you guys seen it?
No,
It
I'm
is-
waiting
No, it's
for
coming
that.
out this week though, so
It's coming.
Oh,
yeah.
there you go.
Quickest turnaround possible. But no, I like Eli Roth, man. And House with a Clock on Its Wall is pretty fucking cool for a kid horror movie. I know we've talked about that a few times, but
Mhm.
I think I would love for him to just go back to the lower budget horror movies. And Thanksgiving too is probably gonna be moderate.
Yeah,
sequel
I mean
budget,
Thanksgiving
right?
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
we'll
is
see.
that announced? Was that announced officially?
Yeah, Thanksgiving 2 is definitely coming. But it's not coming. It's coming next November, I believe.
Oh.
They took like a year. He said he
Jeez.
wanted to take a year off so he wouldn't rush it.
That makes sense.
So it'll be next November. We'll be getting Thanksgiving 2, which I'm debating. I'm going to a con. And he's going to be there again in November, and Alex Armbruster is going to be there, who played John Carver, and they're doing like a dual photo op with him in costume as John Carver and Eli. So I might do that. It's
You
kind
got to
of
shoot your shot this time too for your movie idea.
I should.
Shoot it.
I will actually. That's a great idea. All right.
And just
All
to
right.
bring it back a little bit, I will
Yeah.
say I did a series watch of both Anaconda and Lake Placid because those series interject at some point where they start coming
Of course
together.
you did.
I'm gonna say underrated series. I enjoyed them more than I thought I would. They're dumb, but they're actually pretty fun. So if you're looking for something to watch, watch the Anaconda and Lake Placid series because, like I said, at one point they come together. So yeah, you might be surprised.
Very cool. Yeah, I don't even know how we got off on that tangent of Eli Roth. We went from Anaconda
Jack
to
Black
Eli Roth.
to-
Okay, to
Black,
Jack
yeah.
Black. Okay.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you. All right. Just a couple more stories to get through here tonight. Not much, honestly. But Beetlejuice is fastly approaching, ladies and gentlemen. Are we ready? Are we excited? I think most of us are. Well, I gotta say, like, they've really killed it on marketing for this movie. Like, you go everywhere and it's fucking, they have I was at the movie theaters last week and they had their own Beetlejuice flavor out. But Fanta's doing, Haunted Apple, I believe it's called. Haven't tried it yet, but if you frequent Denny's, they have a very special Beetlejuice menu currently over at your local Denny's. So if you would like to try something called the Afterlife Burger, you can do that. And also the Say It 3 Times Slam. A lot of fun stuff on that menu. So if you would like to get in the spirit, maybe on September 6th, opening day, head over to Denny's for breakfast. Get yourself an Afterlife Burger or something of that nature, and then go and see the movie. Apparently, also in Mexico, unfortunately not in America, they have Beetlejuice pizza at their Domino's that has a very special green sauce. They like did the
Interesting.
marinara sauce in a green. I was gonna order it. I was like, oh shit, and then I went and I saw it was a Mexico.
Oh, you gotta go to Mexico now, bud.
Yeah, right.
Do you guys remember the green ketchup
Yes.
Yeah.
in like the early
do.
2000s?
I think
It,
they
like
did purple too.
oh gosh,
Mhm.
it like didn't taste different at all, but it just tasted different because of the like I can taste the green, but I don't know. That was hot. I wonder why they just continue that.
Yeah. And Joe, speaking
Yes.
of Beetlejuice,
Ooh.
you just went to the location where
d-
they filmed the town.
I did, yeah. I did. Yeah, we were so busy with the movie stuff. I didn't even mention that. Yeah, I went up to Vermont this weekend for a little getaway, And I don't even know like how it came up. Oh, I think we were talking about like the new Beetlejuice movie coming out, and I'm like, shit. I was like, they actually filmed it in Vermont. I was like, I wonder how close we are to the Beetlejuice filming location. Saw we were only an hour away. So yeah, we took the trek up there to East Corneth, Vermont. Steve went last year, I know, when they were actually filming the movie. Oddly enough, we went on Tim Burton's birthday, which I did not find out until the very next day. But I thought that was kind of a cool little coincidence as well. But yeah, man, it was awesome. We went to all the film locations up there. The Miss Shannon School for Girls that Lydia comes out of at the end of the movie, which is really cool because they have like the bike set up and like a little Beetlejuice sort of mural thing, which is really cool. And they have like a makeshift like Miss Shannon sign, which I thought was really cool that they did that for like fans of the movie. And they actually like had like a little map showing everyone like where to go. So it's cool that the town like embraces this, which the town is probably has like 5 people in it. It's so like tiny of a town. But yeah, I got to see like where the bridge, the covered bridge was. It's not there obviously anymore, but you know, the bridge where they drive off in the first movie. And then of course Maitland Hardware Store, in the church, and then the house on the hill. Man, that hill is quite impressive looking. It's quite beautiful, like just complete greenery and stuff like that. I tried driving down there, but it did say dead end and private property, so Sam was scared we might get shot because it is Vermont, it is the sticks, and people aren't afraid to use their guns up there. So we stayed away. We looked at it from afar, but everything else, we got a lot of awesome pictures. I actually posted it in the Discord. So yeah, that was pretty cool. So highly recommend it if you're ever in the area. It's definitely worth the drive to see it. It's the Miss Shannon School especially is like unchanged. It looks exactly like it did in the movie. So
Yeah,
pretty cool.
I was lucky because I was coming back from Joe's house actually. I spent a weekend there to go on like some booze cruise, tiki cruise, which was amazing by the way. And yeah, I happened to pass in. It was right after the strike had started, so the sets were all still up, but there was no active production, so you could kind of visit everything because there was no one there. And it was cool. I got to see like the covered bridge covered, and the house was up there. We didn't know anything about the movie at that time, and I saw it veiled and everything, which you see now in the trailers and stuff. It was super cool. The Maitland's like store, it was a facade in front of a like shit shack from what Joe's pictures look like. So that was really cool. It's a coffee shop in the second one. So, and the church, you saw the church as well. The church, they didn't change at all. So yeah, it's cool to see that they embrace it, and it's really just one street. Like you park at one place, you get to walk to all the locations, except the actual house. But for me, it was blocked off by security because I guess it's an active set, right? So they didn't want to fuck around there. But yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, very cool. Definitely recommend. If you once again, it's in East Corneth, Vermont. I will say the only thing, take some screenshots or get your directions in order because there's no service at all, and you got to drive to find service to get back on your GPS. So definitely prep for that if you do plan on going out there, because it is definitely in the middle of nowhere. But very cool. All right, just 2 quick notes that I wanted to mention, and that is Longlegs recently hit digital, so you can go and check that out. Now it's currently at $19.99. You know, if you want to spend it, I would say it's kind of worth it. Like it's one of my favorites of the year so far, but maybe wait for it to drop wait a few weeks. It'll probably drop down to $10. And also Trap has also hit digital this week as well for you Josh Hartnett and M. Night Shyamalan fans. That has also come at home to digital. Also, Quiet Place Day 1 has hit Paramount Plus for you Paramount Plus users, so you can check that out as well. And then for you physical media people, Friday 13th Part 2 is getting a 4K release for this Halloween, as well as an amazing Blair Witch Project release, 4K Blu-ray release that is going to be coming out very soon as well. And that's all I got. That's your cup of Joe for this week. Thank you.
You grabbing that second site official Blair Witch?
Yeah, for sure. I wish it was coming. Do you know when I don't know when it's shipping because I'm meeting. Actually, yeah, it won't come because I'm meeting the cast in like 3 weeks.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
it's
it won't be out
October,
for
I
a
think.
while.
Yeah,
Mhm.
which would be
Plus
awesome.
it's from England to be a little bit longer.
Yeah, I've never had the chance to meet Josh and Heather, so I'm super excited for that. I'm getting the group photo
Very
op
cool.
with them and stuff. So I'm gonna look like I'm camping in the woods. Got my flannel, my hood. I got a backpack and everything.
That's
It'll be
very
fun.
cool.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying.
Make sure you have a map too.
I got like I found a shitty like camcorder at Goodwill and stuff,
That's
so
hilarious.
it'll be a fun little photo op. Yeah. Then I got like a million things. I can decide what I actually want them to sign because I got like a million things I want them to sign. But
You getting multiples? You're just doing one sig each, you think?
no, I'm definitely multiples. I just gotta decide what. Like there's like
$50 a pop. So
I know
keep that in mind.
there's like 10 things I want to get signed, but I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to I think decide on like 2 things for now because
Yeah.
this is the first time they never do cons together. It's very rare. So I mean, I know they just did Harhound like this year because of the anniversary. They're doing more
Yeah.
cons, but usually they don't do many. So I'm very excited for
Very
that.
cool.
Yeah. Alrighty, let's get into what watch, gentlemen. What you been watching this week?
I got one queued up here, and I finally watched Night Swim from 2024. And I know Steve watched. Joe, did you watch that too?
I did.
You
Yeah.
both watched it? Cool.
Yeah, we both hated it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I hated it, but it was like the reviews are very accurate. A lot of people say that it's just very generic, and it seems like it's a formulaic fucking movie. Like they looked at every kind of like ghostish film from the last decade or so, and then just like copied the beats, right? A family moves into the house, right? Something's creepy. This time it happens to be the pool, but it could have been a fucking doll. It could have been a fucking door, whatever. Creepy stuff happens. One of the family members kind of like likes the fucking creepy thing. And then the family members, the other ones are like, well, you can't like that. And then they go and try to get help. And they talk to like a wise older person or older lady. And then that lady warns them, like, you got to get away from that item. It's dangerous. And then they're like, I'm not going to listen. I'm going back to the house. So it's like, it's very like nothing new with the plot, which is unfortunate because I think the filmmaker is like a legit like horror fan, and maybe he just had his hands tied with the budget or something. But essentially a recovering a previous MLB Major League Baseball player, he has an illness, so he has to stop playing ball, and they want to buy a house to settle down. They get this one, and it has a pool that has a dark history that they don't know about. And once they start swimming around, like unseen forces will grab them, or like the lights will start flickering and all that bullshit. And yeah, we just go through their ride as they try to figure out what the fuck's up with this pool. Yeah, but there's no twists and turns. You know exactly what's going to happen. I do like the acting. I thought I was acting pretty well. I thought that was it wasn't their fault that the movie was bad. They did well with what they had. But overall, like I said, the plot was just so generic. It was hard to get invested into it because you just knew what was coming the entire time. So I did give it a 2.5 out of 5. I didn't hate it. I thought it was a passable movie. Will I ever watch it again? No. Is it the worst film of the year? No, I don't think so. But that's Night Swim, and that's currently streaming. I forget where. I think VOD.
All right, I'll go next. So mine, as usual, comes with a call to arms to our listeners. We are very fast approaching the top of the 1960s, so we need the top 10 list for anyone who's able to provide one. We really, really appreciate it's going to make that episode even better. It's either going to be in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks, depending when we can see Beetlejuice. So it's gonna be one of those 2 weeks. It's not next week, definitely, but one of the 2 weeks following that. So send in those lists if you can, and we really appreciate it. So mine is in that vein. I'm trying to watch more 60s movies so I can pump up my list. And this movie, which I found over on Tubi, caught my eye. It wasn't even on my list, but listen to this. It is co-directed by Roger Corman and Francis Ford Coppola, starring Boris Karloff, Dick Miller, and Jack Nicholson. It is 1963's The Terror. I mean, how the fuck can this not be good? I mean, that's crazy. So this is the story of a French soldier played by Jack Nicholson, who he's like wandered off onto a beach somehow. He got lost, away from his platoon or whatever French soldiers call their squads, and he sees a beautiful young woman. So of course he gets horny. It's the 60s, and he starts chasing her through the woods. And some things are weird. He like sees her, then he turns around, and then he turns back around, and she's gone. There's something off, which leads him eventually to a castle. And he goes into the castle, and the castle has a baron there, played by Boris Karloff. And he's like, I'm looking for this woman, and she came this direction. Have you seen her? And he describes the woman. He's like, that's not possible. So he brings him into the foyer, and there's a picture of that woman, and of course, she is deceased. She had died 20 years ago. So Jack Nicholson, of course, doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe in ghosts, and the story is basically him trying to figure out the mystery of this woman and what really happened to her, which leads into this kind of whodunit and stuff like that. So that's basically the gist of the story. So Jack Nicholson plays a French officer, doesn't try or even attempt to do any French accent whatsoever. Why they made him French, I don't fucking know. I guess they had Jack Nicholson available, so like, hey, you want to play this French guy? Like, sure. Yeah, the movie's not good, unfortunately. I don't know how the fuck they didn't make this good. Now, of course, this is very early in all their careers, except Boris Karloff, who is fantastic. And it's not that they don't do like a good job acting. It's just the story is really kind of dull. There isn't much going on. It's just boring. It's bland. Like the story is just them going around the castle and figuring things out and having these conversations, and then that don't really lead to anywhere. And I don't know. I guess I was just really disappointing because with all the people involved, I thought this would be awesome. And having seen a lot of 60s, and I'll talk about this during the 60s episode, it's amazing how many of them is a guy goes to a castle who doesn't belong there and then looks for some mystery. It's like, I'd say 70% of what I'm watching is basically that like basic story plot. And it's crazy how many of them I've seen like that. So I gave this one 1.5 stars. Just failed potential in my opinion. So that's The Terror from 1963 over on Tubi.
Ouch. What a disappointment with all that talent. All right. My first one tonight, 2023 release, a movie called Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls. Now, Steve
It's a
actually,
mouthful right there.
yes, Steve actually watched this one last year and interviewed the star and director of the movie, Andre Bowser. It also has Jason Marsden in it, who provided the voice of the box troll or whatever the thing is called in the movie. So Steve was like, you should check it. I know Steve was highly recommended it to a lot of people for a while and whatnot. And he was like, well, he's like, you should definitely watch it before we interview Jason this year. So I was like, all right, I'll check it out. So this movie, I'm not familiar with Onyx. He apparently is some sort of, is he a YouTube sensation, Steve?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So this character Onyx, this guy, he's a YouTuber. He created this character, Andre Bowser. He created Onyx. This character he makes YouTube videos for, and apparently he made a full-length feature to do with it. So Onyx is sort of, I'd say, sort of like this loser, to put it bluntly. He lives at home with, his parents and stuff like that. He's a grown man. Essentially, he works at like a burger shack and stuff like that. But the interesting thing, like, he's a super like fucking like hardcore nerd, but he's also a Satanist, which is like, it's just like really random, where he starts like talking about Satanists, and he like worships this deity, I believe, called Bartok. And so there is a contest to go to this like mansion to meet. Is it to meet Bartok or something? Yeah, to meet Bartok, right? Who is played by Jeffrey Combs, interestingly enough. And yeah, so he ends up winning this contest, and him and like 7 other people meet at this mansion to meet Bartok. They show up, and Bartok is like dead already, but he summons himself back to life through like the power of Satan and stuff like that. And yeah, from there, like, just insanity ensues. Eventually, like a portal is open that unleashes sort of like all these monsters and stuff like that, and creatures, and yeah, it gets pretty crazy. I will say this movie 100% hinges on your likeness of Onyx, for sure. I didn't know this guy going in, and at times I really enjoyed him, but to me the shtick got old after a while. And at the runtime being almost 2 hours, like, it really started to wane on me after a while, just because it's very, I would say, juvenile humor, So, I think there's definitely fun to be had here. And I The practical effects are great. Like they're fantastic. And I had a lot of fun with that. Jeffrey Combs sort of hamming it up as this Bartok character was really fun as well. So I think if you like love the Onyx character or you love his shtick, like you'll probably absolutely love this movie. For me, it was like I had enjoyment watching it, but it's not something I see myself like ever sort of revisiting. It definitely has some fun like Halloween style vibes though. The set designs were fantastic. So I give them a lot of props. But for me, it's a one and done. I give it a 2.5 out of 5. I teeter like between 2.5 and 3 the more I think about it. But yeah, it was decent, but just not something I would personally revisit. So that's Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls. You can watch it for free on Tubi.
Very cool. Yeah, so this is a fresh watch, a new watch, whatever. In preparation for Blade, I had never seen Blade Part 2. I seen Blade and Blade 3, which makes zero sense. So yeah, Blade 2. I watched it on VHS because I'm cool like that, I guess. And man, this movie's fucking cool as hell. Like, I don't know why I never watched this because it's fucking badass. Like, not to spoil a lot of any of the conversation we're gonna have about part one, but part two takes what part one does and just ramps it up quite a bit. I do think that the story is a little bit lame because in part one, Wessler, whatever his homie, like shoots himself in the fucking head and it's a big plot point. And then two, he's alive. I'm like, what the fuck is this? But yeah, Blade, he's going after, he's helping vampires now because the vampires are like, hey, there's this new fucking vampire strain or whatever, and these guys are fucking insane. We need your help, dude. And of course they're gonna fucking backstab him. You read that from a mile away. But Blade's like, yeah, all right, I'll team up with you. I got Daryl from The Walking Dead. He's my new Wessler, whatever his name is. He's gonna help me out. Or is he a little fucking snake in the grass? I don't know. We'll find out. And they go in the fucking tunnels and they're like hunting down these fucking new vampires and shit like that. Super bloody, super action packed. The CGI is fucking awful, but VHS really saves some of these older films, man, especially the late 90s and early 2000s, because it hides poor VFX really well. So if you have the opportunity to watch it on tape, I definitely do that. Blade 2, I gave it four out of 5 because I just had a great time with it. And like I said, watch it on tape, but I'm assuming this is got to be streaming somewhere.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna pick Blade 2 at some point next year. I think
Oh,
Blade 2
okay.
like ramps up the horror.
Yeah.
From 1, so yeah, it's definitely one. I think it's a fun one, but we're just doing Blade now, so it'll be at least like a year before I pick Blade 2. So that's awesome. You watch it. I can't believe you skipped it. Like you went to 3, which
I don't know why.
yeah. All right. So my last one this week is a 2024 film that I watched over on Shudder, and it's called Hellhole. So this is directed by the Addams family, which is not the ones with Wednesday and Gomez and stuff like that. It is a family that they tend to make films, I'd say every year, every other year or so. They made stuff like Hellbender. They made The Deeper You Dig and Where the Devil Roams, I think was last year's movie that they made. So this story is these people, they work at a factory and they basically like dig holes and stuff like that. They're in Siberia and they're trying to like extract different things from the ground, but they unwittingly dig up a French soldier. I guess it was a theme this week with me. And the French soldier looks like he comes from like the 1800s and he's in a cocoon and they think it's a dead body, but he wakes up and he's basically telling people to kill him. He's like, you need to kill me, you need to kill me. And they're like, I don't know what to do here. Like, what the fuck is this guy up to? So finally, a guy does kill him, and this like alien creature comes out of him and infects the guy who killed him. And then it becomes this thing where this alien creature is passing from person to person, and there's a lot of gory mayhem that ensues from there. So, although I've been lukewarm on the rest of their films, like I find their films to be like okay, I appreciate that the family like kind of put themselves out there and make these movies, and they use kind of a lot of the same actors, a lot of themselves into these movies, so that's really cool. And I would say this one's on par with their other work. It's got decent acting. It's got a really cool location. It's like kind of this Russian abandoned warehouse that they use, and there's some pretty fucking gnarly kills, so huge points for that. Unfortunately, the CGI leaves a lot to be desired. Like it's bad for 2024. It's pretty bad. So that's unfortunate. And I feel like the story, it was missing a little bit of the uniqueness that some of their other films had, and a little bit of the charm that some of their other films had. So that was unfortunate, but it's very watchable, and I would recommend it, especially if you enjoy their previous works. So that's Hellhole on Shudder, and I gave it 2.5 stars out of 5.
Nice. Yeah, they make some decent stuff. I that witch one was probably my favorite one they did. What was that one
That's
called?
Hellbender, right?
Hellbender, yeah.
Mhm.
That one was probably their best. All right. My last one tonight, brand new release. You can watch it completely free over on YouTube. It is a movie titled Milk and Cereal. Cereal being like serial killer. So clever title. This is from a group of YouTubers, apparently, and kudos to them for marketing somehow. I assume they have a very big YouTube channel. I am not familiar with these guys at all. Curry Barker is the director of this. I assume he also runs the YouTube channel as well. But man, I have seen this thing fucking in like a ton of horror groups on Facebook. I have seen it being reviewed by a ton of my people I follow on Letterboxd. And I believe it was Kate recommended this one as well. And I was like, well, she recommended me Frogman last week. So, and I fucking loved Frogman. So I was like, let me jump on the milk and cereal train as well then. So this one, yeah. So obviously this is like a very like amateur effort by these YouTubers. It is a found footage style movie about a group of YouTubers that have a sort of, they're, influencers and have like this sort of like prank channel and whatnot. They decide for one of the kids' birthdays, they are going to pull this sort of elaborate prank on him, and that's sort of like their shtick is they pull these elaborate pranks on each other. You've seen like those types of YouTube channels, obviously. Well, no surprise, the prank goes horribly wrong, and they have to decide, how to clean up the mess, I guess. And I'll leave it at that. The movie also has a couple of other twists and turns along the way. Yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's solid. Like, it's for a, low budget, like no budget really, found footage movie. I think it's pretty impressive what they were able to accomplish. The acting is actually pretty well done. The movie is also only 60 minutes long, so it's, nice and short, which is always a plus. I guess my only real big criticism here, and it is pretty big, is that I feel like the movie lacked a lot of focus as far as the plot. Like, I feel like they like tried to put like one too many sort of like twist in there. I feel like that was sort of like unnecessary and just didn't jive with the rest of the movie. So I feel like if they, tighten things up and focused a little more on, one thing rather than trying to throw a bunch of sort of different plot devices into this, I think it would have been a better movie. But it's a very promising effort from these guys, and I don't think they do horror movies at all. So yeah, I mean, overall I give it, on like a normal movie scale, I'm gonna give it a 2.5 out of 5. But I would go like higher because I think what they were able to accomplish, especially now that we're trying to make a movie on like a nothing budget and stuff like that, like I definitely appreciated it a lot more watching it with that lens. So for completely free, I would say it's worth a watch. That's Milk and Cereal, and you can check it out over on YouTube. Alrighty, that's all we got then. So Totter, bust out the books, baby. It's time for another round of trivia.
Yep. So a tight race once again. Steve and Joe tied at 13 apiece. Me in third with 10 points for quarter number 3. Who would like to lead off today?
I'll go.
Ooh,
All
coming
right.
in hot.
Oh yeah. I do have a theme. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but there is a theme, so it'll help you
What
if you
movie are
figure
we
it out.
watching tonight? Oh, Blade. Okay. So
Blade.
it's probably, maybe it's a vampire theme.
It's not.
Well, so he says. So
all
he
right.
says.
So the first one is guess the movie based off the IMDb parental guide. We start with some sex and
Oh,
nudity this week.
both?
Both.
Cool.
Not in this one, but there is some in the movie. Female
Which movie
breast.
is it?
Not telling you. Nice try though. Female breast nudity is displayed when a woman takes off her top to change and exposes her bare breasts in the process.
As one does when you change.
There's
As
one I
one
wanted
does.
to use, but it was too dirty, and I thought,
Oh,
Oh,
I'm not going to read
bring
it.
it on. We're
No,
an
like
MA rated, we're
it's like
adult rated
it's
show.
like gross, dirty, like
Alright.
not the good kind of dirty. Violence and gore. A man runs a knife through a rattlesnake, killing it and spilling its blood onto a newborn infant, as well as sticking his finger inside it and then placing that finger into the infant's mouth.
Gee whiz.
that actually sounds very familiar.
It should.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
I know you guys have seen this. So.
We've seen it.
Profanity. About 15 F words and several minor profanities throughout.
Yep.
Alcohol, drugs, and smoking. The main character is described as an alcoholic, so there are some scenes including alcohol consumption. And finally, probably the giveaway, at least it would be for me, frightening and intense scenes. In a girl's vision, a man breaks into pieces like porcelain.
Yes. I've seen this.
I know you have.
Dang, that snake one is what really is killing. But the porcelain too, yeah.
You probably even picture it in your mind because it was a very striking scene.
Is it
Very striking.
is it the
scene.
Rage Carry 2?
Wrong.
Oof.
Good guess.
I really have no idea if Joe wants to take a second stab at it.
Oh man.
I've watched it.
Yep. Dare I
Gosh.
say, we've even reviewed it on this
Oh my
Yeah,
word!
podcast.
Of
I
course we
figured.
have.
I
Damn
figured
it!
that's why it should sound familiar, I
I
suppose.
need to have like a schedule printed out right in front of me. Just run through the names. Porcelain Man, Snake.
Snake, this baby
Is it
snake. Yeah.
Lords of Salem?
Wrong.
Mm.
I figured there'd be something weird like that in there.
But just a little side note, Lords of Salem would fit in my theme this week.
Oh,
But
Okay.
it's not any of my answers today.
somewhat witchy maybe.
You
Witches.
guys give up on this one?
Hold on, let me
Yeah.
think about the witch angle real quick. Pie Wacket. There's witches
Wrong.
in that. No.
Nah.
That
I got
was
nothing.
three guys anyway.
Yeah.
So the answer is Arnold Schwarzenegger's End of Days. The dude with the little like crazy yellow hair, like that follows her on the subway, shatters like porcelain.
Oh, that
Yes.
freak.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
should review
Good
that
movie.
like last year, I think. Right? Maybe
Year, 3 years now.
maybe 2
Yeah,
years
Sam
ago.
was on that, I think. So it's been
All
a
right.
minute.
All right.
Very cool.
All right, I'll go next.
All right.
All right. Can you get I need 2 names here.
Okay.
So be ready. I need the original actor and the remake actor who played Jerry the Vampire in Fright
Colin
Night.
Farrell.
Yes.
I know the other, but
Colin
I'll
Farrell.
wait.
And where's my poster at?
You motherfucker.
I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on his name. He's fucking in Child's Play as a detective. He's fucking voice
Yes.
of Jack Skellington.
Indeed.
His name is.
Yeah.
That's what I had him sign as Jack Skellington.
Steve
would you get him signed?
is
Dev?
gonna get the steal.
I'm ready. I'm just.
Whoa,
How long do I give him?
You give me 73 seconds to fucking
Okay,
figure it
Joe,
out.
you
Well,
call
that's
it.
a bit- that's a
let
bit
me
long.
know. Let me know when I can answer, Joe.
I'll give you a
You're
10-second countdown here.
10 seconds starting in 30 seconds. All right. His name is.
Detective Mike Norris from
Okay, are
Child's
you ready?
Play. Yeah.
It's
I'm
so
ready.
annoying.
Yes.
Yeah, I fucking steal
All
you,
right, go
bitch.
ahead, Steve.
Chris Sarandon.
Chris
Correct.
Sarandon, son of a bitch. Yep. Dang
Colin
it.
Farrell. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
whatever.
I got him to sign a Jack Skellington thing.
Really?
I had him sign on my Child's Play poster.
And I got Fright Night, so we're all three
Nice. Look
different.
at that.
Yeah,
All
nice.
3.
Dang it, that was man. All right, be quick. We've watched this film.
Indeed.
What is? Go ahead.
I was like, we haven't even reviewed Fright Night, have we? That's someone we should probably
That's
review
one
at
we
some
should
point.
review. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the last name
Mm.
of porn star Maxine?
Minx.
Oh, that was close.
That was close.
I'm
I'll
not
have to
giving the
watch it.
motherfuckers two.
That's-
I'm
that was
not.
a tight
No
one.
one's getting 1 point because you guys are too close. I'm picking a different one. That
Oh.
was very close.
Yeah.
Okay. In Rob Zombie's Halloween Part 2,
Hmm.
what do the paramedics hit in the road that causes a car accident, which leads to Michael escaping?
Oh.
They
Barrel.
scream it. What was that?
The barrel.
Incorrect.
Deer.
Incorrect. The correct answer is a cow.
Hmm.
Richard
Okay.
Branch, is that his name?
Richard Brake?
Blake.
Break.
There you go.
Brake.
He goes, cow, and then they hit it.
Doomhead.
It's Ugh, that movie's fucking terrible.
I remember. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was
you
cool
didn't,
though.
you didn't like it. No,
he
you
was
didn't
cool
like
in
it at
it.
all. Don't
No, I didn't like it, but
revisionist.
his character was cool.
I guess.
All right. Guess the movie based off the cast. And I'm giving all the main actors in the cast, so I'm not omitting anyone in this one.
Okay.
Jeffrey Combs,
See, know him?
Amelia
Heard of-
Curtis,
Heard of? No,
No,
Stephen Ray,
no.
no,
Natasha McElhone.
no.
Of course.
That's
Really?
the
Who's
girl
that?
from Truman Show. The one he actually
blonde?
he actually
Oh,
loves.
the other chick. The
Ah,
yeah, the
okay.
one that's
Fiji-
outside the
Fiji
dome.
chick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stephen Dorff
Know him.
and Udo Kier.
Udo Kier. Know him.
Who was the
It's not-
first? Who was the first big guy? Oh, Jeffrey
Jeffrey
Combs.
Combs.
Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffrey Combs. and
Jeffrey
Udo
Combs is in
Kier.
there. Udo. We got Stephen Dorff
Hmm.
of The Office fame. For all the Office people out there.
Stephen Dorff.
Wasn't he in like a commercial for like
I don't know.
Saber? No, that's the other guy.
He's in Blade.
No. But who am I
Um,
thinking of? Remember the movie Broken Arrow with John Travolta?
Mhm.
That other guy?
Oh yeah.
What's his fucking name?
I don't remember.
What movie?
Broken
what was-
Arrow. Broken Arrow. John
Oh.
Travolta. What's the other guy's name?
Yes.
Oh my god. I could picture the
golf?
poster with
It's
the two names.
I've
Yeah.
never seen Broken
Don't know.
Arrow. I don't think.
Hard Rain. He's in Hard. I don't even know. What was your question?
Is it Beyond Reanimator?
Wrong.
Oh,
Let's guess the movie based off the
yeah,
cast.
yeah.
So Stephen Dorff, Natasha McElhone, Stephen
Yeah.
Rea, Udo Kier, Amelia Curtis, and Jeffrey Combs.
It's not Beyond.
My hint is that it's a really stupid name. Like I fucking hate this title.
Okay.
Really stupid name.
Yeah.
I
And I think it's
don't
early 2000s
know. Fucking
from
no clue.
memory. No?
No.
So the movie is fear.com.
Ah, yeah.
Fear.com.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
That's
I-
not, that was like the beginning of the internet. That makes sense.
It was.
Fear.com.
I know, but it's just such a stupid. I fucking hate it.
Fear.
Yeah. I remember that-
DOT.com,
I
right?
saw that in theaters and I remember it being fucking terrible, but I don't remember anything about it. Like,
Yeah, it's
now.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
All right. All right. Guess the movie based on the IMDb information. This movie was released in the year 2010
Mm.
with an R rating, clocking in at 1 hour and 56 minutes.
Too long.
Categorized as dark fantasy,
Ah.
drama,
Yep.
horror,
Uh-huh.
mystery,
Oh,
and thriller.
wow. It's
With a lot of stuff.
lots of shit. That's why it's an hour
Currently-
and 50 minutes.
Currently sitting at a 7.1 out of 10 over on
Oh.
IMDb
Okay, that's well liked.
with a Metascore of 79.
Well,
Director Matt Reeves. Starring Cody Smith McPhee,
Fuck's
Richard Richard Jenkins.
that? Cabin in the Woods.
Incorrect.
No.
Cara-
fuck me, dude.
Cara Buono, Elias Cotiez, and Dylan Minette. I am leaving out the one major actor / actress in this movie.
nice.
Tagline. This would be the giveaway if you know names. The tagline for the movie is Innocence dies, Abby doesn't.
Fuck is that?
Yeah, this one's not ringing a bell at all.
Abby.
Okay. I have a theme this week. Think about my
Yeah,
last
I know the theme, and I still can't. I still can't guess.
Okay.
So,
I don't know.
yeah,
I will give you the main actress, and this
Oh.
will be the dead
Let's
giveaway.
hear it. Let's hear it.
I'm giving you guys a point here.
Okay.
The main actress in the movie is Chloe Grace Moretz.
Oh, Carrie.
Incorrect.
Oh no! What the fuck?
is it Final Girl?
Incorrect. It is
Wow, holy
my theme
shit.
this week is vampires, and the movie is Let Me In, the remake.
Oh,
I haven't
gosh,
seen it.
dang it.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
it's-
one we
it's-
should cover.
It's
I saw
good.
the original, but
Yeah.
not the remake.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
think
Swedish
it's a
one, right? The original.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. All right. All right. In A Quiet Place Part 3, the first day or whatever.
Day one.
What is it? Yeah, we've watched it.
Yes.
What is the name
Recently.
of the pizza place that she wants to eat at?
Oh man, it's a great question.
Thank you.
Um.
Cold
uh,
2-day-old pizza, which I would
Yes.
eat. I would eat. Fuck it. Give the
Uh,
shits, but
They mention it.
Empire Pizza.
They mention it quite a few times
quite a
too.
few times. It's
Mhm.
also written on the box.
He literally writes it on the box in magic marker. Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Christ, I don't
Uh,
remember.
Frodo's.
Frodo's. It's the cat. Incorrect. It is Patty's Pizza.
Patty's Pizza.
Patty's Pizza.
Mhm.
Not to be confused with Patty's Bar.
Mm.
From, it's always sunny in Philadelphia.
Or my
Alright.
mother, Patty.
Or your mother. Yeah. Shout out.
One of the best guests we ever had.
Yeah. The
Mhm.
best guess.
All right, this is an easy one, so you guys need to be quick on this one.
Okay.
So my theme this week was Udo Kier.
Oh,
Oh,
gosh.
all right.
He creeps me out, man.
Yeah, he's got a
He's got a
look.
creepy fucking look.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Udo Kier features heavily in a trailer for a film that was never intended to be made. Which film is it?
I don't fucking know, dude.
You do.
I'm like, do I
Hobo with
know?
a shotgun.
Wrong.
I do know. Let's go with Werewolf Woman of the SS.
That's correct.
Yes.
Nice.
He plays
Finally.
the doctor.
Sweet.
Perfect. The only reason I got that is I'm like, all right, kind of German guy. The only
Yeah.
German thing.
I mean, a
Scary
trailer
German
that- Yeah.
scary German guy. Did he? Is it the eyes that are scary, or he was in what's that
He's
one?
been in
Fucking ballerinas
everything.
and shit. Dario Argento's
Suspiria.
Suspiria.
sister.
There's
He's in that
Suspiria.
one too, and he's like a psychiatrist, and he's like fucking 19 years old. Like,
And
come
Ace,
on, get the
Ace
fuck outta
Ventura.
here.
That's why I
Ace
know.
Ventura.
Yeah, he's,
Yeah.
he's quite the character actor.
He is.
That's why I know him from most when I was a kid. It was as the
Pink
guy who
Lizard.
owns the shark in
Yeah, the Great White and his
in his
that
house.
movie that scene terrified me as a kid.
Yeah, no kidding.
Jeez. All right, who's up?
Joe.
Me?
Yep.
All right.
Back to Joseph.
All right. Last one for me. 3 letterbox reviews. Can you guess the movie?
Maybe.
Number 1. This film is a masterclass in cinematography. It has great locations and a solid creature design. I even think most of the characters are very engaging. I just don't think the story is all that good, and the characters are really dumb. There are some great kills, though, which I appreciated. Overall, I enjoyed watching it. It just needed to be a bit shorter, and the characters need to make more logical choices.
That sounds like one of our reviews.
It does.
Yeah, I would.
Boy.
Okay. Number 2. This movie was a masterpiece. Normally, I
Two
don't
masterpieces back to back.
Hmm.
Normally, I don't like olden time era movies, but I was sucked in from the moment they got on the boat. The story,
Oh, Dracula. The TV
Incorrect.
series. No.
incorrect. The story was simple yet engaging, and I was never once bored. The set designs and sound quality were both incredible, and
I
the
know it.
cinematography was fantastic, with tons of eerie moments.
That's mine. I
I'm
think.
gonna let you keep going. I think
Of
I got
course.
it. But
And the
let's play it
final
safe.
review. This movie is perhaps 35 minutes too long and suffers from severe pacing issues.
All
I
right,
feel like
keep going.
there were lots of minor things they could have done to make this a great one, but instead it got bogged down in a plot that kept repeating itself. Cool as hell ship lighting missed and some decent violence, though.
The Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
I had the right idea, Dracula, with the boat.
You did. You were almost
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
those were Stephen Todd's review plus one of our listeners'
Wow.
reviews as well.
Nice.
Wow, very cool. Very nice. My turn.
Yes.
Okay. In do you guys want an aliens question or a Blade question?
Let's do Blade
Do Blade? Okay.
to be on
Fresh in
team.
my mind.
Fresh in the mind. Ready. What is the name of the temple in Blade Part 1
Mm.
that they go into, and it has all this, they're gonna sacrifice all the vampires and all blah shit. What is the name of that
Right.
temple?
No idea.
Really?
Yeah.
No idea.
All right. Well,
It has been 4 days since I watched it, I guess.
it is, it is called the Temple of Eternal Light.
Mm.
But I thought, well, okay, sorry.
Well, shit.
You want to know what the
Yeah,
aliens
Sure.
question would have been?
Sure, bonus.
Can you name? Okay, bonus question. Can you name? I need the name plus the code name for the planet in Aliens that the
Hmm.
Marines go to. Nothing.
I wouldn't.
No.
No.
Okay, I'll take even the name. I'll even take the name of the planet, not the code name.
I
Remus.
Remus. No,
I don't remember.
it is Hadley's Hope.
Hmm.
LV426, but Hadley's Hope would have been accepted as well.
All right.
Alrighty. Finally, I win a round. That's 2 for me tonight. Steve with 1, Joe with the goose egg, which brings us up to Steve in the lead with 14, Joe 13, myself 12 for quarter number 3 trivia.
Good month.
Good month.
Right,
Yeah.
time month. Yeah.
It's a tight
All
one.
righty.
Mhm.
All righty, folks. So let's get into it. Our main event of the evening, 1998's Blade, directed by Stephen Norrington, starring Stephen Dorff, Chris Christopherson, Nabush Wright, Donald Logue, Udo Kier, and of course, starring Wesley Snipes as our title character. Plot: a half vampire, half mortal man becomes a protector of the mortal race while slaying evil vampires. Simple, effective. But Todd,
Yes.
you don't give him simple and effective.
I
You
go
get
deep.
right into the nitty gritty, and
Mm.
let's hear it.
I get right into the meat and potatoes. So we open in a hospital. This young lady is bleeding profusely from the neck, right? She's pregnant. Oh no, what's going on? The doctors have to do emergency C-section. They pull the baby out. The lady passes away. What's going on with this? Is that Blade that she just gave birth to and then passed away? I don't know. We'll find out. Next up, we have sexy Tracy Lords, right? She's escorting this dork into this club. He's like, "Where are we going, man? Like, where are we going?" He's like, "It's a secret." He's like, "I like secrets." And they go in this fucking club, and like the fucking music's popping. People are grinding. People are sweating. The lights are about to give everyone in the fucking club a seizure because they're just fucking going crazy, right? Everyone's kind of being mean to him though. They're bumping into him. Like he's trying to hook up with that girl. And she's like, "Fuck off! I'm making out with this other blonde chick now," which he watches from afar. But then he's like, "Man, I'm gonna go fucking." And he tries to get out, but people are like elbowing him and shit. Then he's like, "What the fuck?" Some blood drips on him. He's like, "What's that? That's fucking unsanitary." And then all of a sudden, the fire suppression system goes on, but it's not water. It's fucking blood, people. And we realize that the whole club, all the party goers are all vampires. They're drinking the blood. They're all covered in it. They're partying. He starts getting fucked up. They're going to beat his ass. But wait, this total vibe mood killer comes in. This big black dude, all in leather and armor and sunglasses, and he's fucking stoic. He comes in there and it's Blade. He's here to kick some vampire ass, right? So we watch him as he's killing people and whooping everyone's ass, shit like that. Then we can kind of flash forward a little bit, and we're in a super like cool research lab with a young lady, and they're like, talking about blood, like, "Hey, this blood is fucking weird, blah blah blah." And then she gets attacked by a vampire from the club that was taken in. They thought it was a dead body, but it's not. It's a fucking vampire, dude. So she gets attacked, and Blade comes and saves her because he thinks she's hot or something. Takes her back to the lair, and then that's where we learn that Blade is this vampire, half human, half vampire assassin on a quest to kill all vampires. He's taken this girl that he just rescued and he's trying to help her out. We learn that he takes a serum so he doesn't turn crazy vampire. He's got a homie named Whistler. That's his like kind of like a father figure. He makes all his weapons, kind of like Alfred is the Batman. And we follow their journey. We also have Deacon Frost, who's the main bad vampire. He's kind of a little bitch though. He's telling all like the Udo Kier. He's like, "We are purebred vampire. You don't fucking talk to me like that." And he's like, "I'm gonna do what I want because I'm the bad boy now. I'm cool." And he's after some fucking old, I don't even know, like legend or something. They're trying to translate it with some old school 2000s graphics. And he's trying to figure out some bullshit to bring some blood god back or something. And Blade's killing everybody. Yeah, first time in a long time. Watch this one on tape because I just think these movies look a little bit better because it hides all the bad shit in here because there's some questionable CGI. But I had a fucking great time with this, man. I was hoping that it would hold up, and I was pleasantly surprised. There's some goofy shit in it, but it is a comic book movie at the end of the day. It's full of blood. Wesley Snipes is a fucking beast in it. I like the crony to Deacon Frost who keeps getting his arm cut off. That guy's really good. I think his name's Donald Logue or Luke or something like that. And I just think it's a fun movie. What do you guys think?
Yeah, Donald Logue, another great character actor who's like in just so much good stuff. He was in a show called, I think it was what was it?
With the wife,
Grounded
right?
Grounded for Life
Yeah,
that I
that was
used
a
to
good one.
love watch growing up. But anyway, I digress. Blade. Yeah, man. I remember this was like a running thing on the podcast when you guys were talking about Blade and I had never seen it. It even might have been before we were a Horror Squad podcast. But I finally watched it like a few years ago. Never went back to revisit it. Kind of forgot everything about it. So yeah, I was excited to revisit it, and yeah, overall, man, I mean, it's a fun time. Like, it's just at the end of the day, it's just like a fun movie. I mean, there's definitely some like the CGI is not even questionable. Some of the CGI is downright fucking atrocious, and we'll get into some of the moments, especially towards the end. It gets really, really bad. Um, but man, Blade rules. Like Wesley Snipes just kills it as Blade. Like I feel like it's just a role he was born to play. Like he just fucking is Blade. He's awesome in it. I think we could have used a better villain. Like I don't mind Steven Dorff, but he's just like okay. And then like especially when we get to the end and they're talking about this whole fucking like god that's supposed to come down and like wreak havoc, and like it never really comes. Like it sort of like enters, I think, Steven Dorff at one point, but like I was expecting like this like massive like epic finale that just like sort of never came to me. So that was a little disappointing, but I think everything else is great. Whistler rules. I love sort of the relationship between him and Blade. I like the main actress in here too. What's her character's name? Karen. I like her as well in here. I like some of the twists and turns we get as well. And yeah, overall, it's a pretty damn bloody, gory, good time at the end of the day. It's just a great like popcorn flick, really.
Yeah, so I picked it. So obviously, it's something that I like a lot. I have fond memories of seeing this when I was a teen. You have to remember I was a huge comic book nerd. I read a lot of comics. I watched a lot of book TV shows, but movies, man, they were fucking the shits back then. All we had basically was a shitty Spider-Man, a shitty Captain America, a shitty Punisher, a shitty Hulk. There's like nothing good. So Blade, Marvel character comes out, and for the first time ever in my life, they actually took it fucking seriously, and it was so cool to see. And they did such a great job with it. I mean, what a way to set the pace for this movie with the first scene in the nightclub. Well, I guess the second scene because the birth is the first scene, but the second scene in the nightclub with Confusion, the song that's playing, and the amount of blood, and he just looks so fucking badass, and he's just like, it's cool, and the whole movie kind of keeps that up where it's like fun, it's just like a fun horror action film. And I love the side characters, like you said. Whistler is, they like purposely make him kind of like the street level Alfred. He's like super rough around the edges. I mean, he fucking gasses the car. He's like pouring gas all over the place as he lights himself a fucking cigarette and stuff. He's just like kind of the anti Alfred in a lot of ways, and that was really cool. And the vampires are cool. The action scenes are cool. Yeah, I mean, there's issues. The CGI, like you said, especially at the end, are just atrocious. But for the like kills themselves when they like disintegrate, I thought it looked cool, even though yes, it doesn't look amazing because it's 98, I think, but it's passable to me. It's just later when they deal with the blood and the regeneration and stuff that it gets pretty bad. And there are some really like weird moments in this that I can't wait to kind of mention that kind of come out of nowhere, but they're so entertaining because they're not afraid to go there, which is cool, And I really like this movie. It's just a ton of fun.
Let's get into the weird moments, man. I'm all about it.
Yeah, let's talk about Pearl. So
Is
Pearl,
that the big fat dude?
Yeah,
That's my first. That's my
It's so
first.
fucking
No
random.
lie, that's my
Yeah.
first note.
I mean, it's
call him the
supposed,
fat fuck.
it's just so fucking random and like out of nowhere because the rest of the whole movie is pretty like based in like a weird reality, but like it all seems like very sort of like cohesive, and then that motherfucker comes out of nowhere and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. I called him. My note is the fat fuck vampire record keeper. So he's like 2,000 pounds of shit, and he's really and he eats babies, right? That's like that's the back. Yeah, that's the trivia on IMDb. I was looking at. I'm like,
Oh,
what the
Jesus.
fuck? They left that out.
It must be in the comics, right?
Yeah,
I
maybe.
assume.
But yeah, it's just like, well, first of all, the record keeping thing is dumb because Udo Kier's like, why are you messing with that? We haven't been able to fucking decipher that in 2,000 years. And like, this motherfucker breaks it in like 30 minutes.
They use computers though. I think he's like,
Oh, he's
that's a difference, right? It's like he's a new age vampire, so he's using computers to break it, whereas people weren't able to break it.
That makes plenty of sense. I get it now. Thank you. But yeah, he's just chilling there in his slop, and they fucking burn him with a light bulb. It's like Jesus. It was pretty cool though when they burned him though.
I mean, it's a really fun scene, like to watch him just sort of fucking get burned like alive because he can't fucking move, obviously, because he's a fucking huge tub of goo. Yeah, it was fucking random, but it was an enjoyable scene for me.
Yeah, it was. And some I liked like the villains in this. You know, I really like the idea that even in the vampire world there's kind of racism. You know, there's the pure blood vampires, there's the half blood vampires. In part 2 they introduce a whole new group of vampires that like it's just I like this whole kind of inner workings of the vampire world, and maybe I wish that we got a little bit more of it, like a little more of the turmoil within the vampire world. But it was cool just to see like as an introduction in this movie, because it is about Blade. It's not about the vampires, but I thought they put more effort into the villain's story than a lot of films would have, you know, so I like that a lot.
Yeah, my biggest, I guess, issue is that I feel like the pure blood vampires were like pussies. Like they were disposed of like way too easily by the, you know, like the I guess halflings, right? Like Deacon is like a sort of he's not a pure blood, right? Like, but he just seemed like to be able to just fucking dispose of these pure bloods like nothing. And I feel like that was I took some issue with that.
I agree, and I think of Underworld too that did a little bit better with like their little vampire society. But how does a purebred work? Like you're impregnated by a vampire semen, and then you are a baby vampire and a mother, and you are born.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I just took it as, you know, you weren't bitten and turned. You were
You were
born
born.
as a legit vampire. So I guess, yeah, I guess like vampires can
Can
mate
mate. Got it.
and create other vampires, yeah.
So are they babies for like 40 fucking years then? Because their aging is supposed to be slow.
I think you would age like a human, like I don't know, it's actually a good like I feel like you would like age like a human, but like once you hit a certain point, you like stop aging. I don't know. It's a great
Yeah.
question. That's one thing that's never really been determined of like how vampires age as
'Cause
far
usually
as
vampires are just
like I thought like
bitten and
Whenever they got bit, yeah.
once you're
Yeah.
turned, but if you're a pure blood, yeah, like how do you age? It's a good question.
which doesn't make any sense because why is Blade the only human hybrid then? If
Because he was
they're
still
being
he was still human, because his mom was still human and turning when she gave birth to him, so he's got like the perfect mix of human and vampire.
But
So
it's a good point because like wouldn't there be others
there'd be a
potentially,
ton, right?
right? That could
There-
happen too.
yeah, and there you know, very might well
Does
be
that happen in any of the sequels? Is that ever
they don't talk about
referenced?
other daywalkers.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, they go into a whole other different
Okay,
directions in the
but
sequels.
here is a massive Todd gripe I have in this movie. And that is that Deacon can just simply put on sunblock
Please
and be
That
okay
was the
in
worst.
sun.
get out of my fucking head.
Like
That's
I
stupid.
accepted the fucking motorcycle helmet. Like,
Yes.
okay, fine, whatever. But the fucking sunblock, I'm like, hell no.
Why aren't they all just fucking around outside then?
Seriously, right?
There's no problem anymore. You got sunscreen, dude. You're good.
Yeah.
Stupid as fuck. I thought that was so dumb.
That was the worst. Like, like you know, like, and I enjoyed the movie, but like, I was like, come on, we like it. I agree. Like, just fucking put him in the motorcycle gear and like have him like even if he fucking puts up the little like thing
Exactly.
so you can see his eyes or something, I'll go with that. But just the fact he just fucking like basically overuses a bunch of sunblock. That's some high SPF, I guess, man. Like,
That's good.
fucking impressive.
SPF 1000, man. It's fucking-
Right.
Yeah, he could have fucking lured him inside somewhere too. Like, it didn't need to be an outside scene at all, you know. So, although it was cool that he fucking just tossed that kid like nobody's
Well,
business. Like,
that's like the other thing too. I have that problem with that scene. They're in a fucking like massive like public thing, and they have this fucking this weird dude in fucking he looks like powder in his sunblock. Like you wouldn't notice him out there, and he's fucking like holding this like little girl like a fuck like he's ready to kill her. Like and everyone's just kind of walking by like nothing.
have you seen that city though? It's like look like shit. Like,
It does look like a shithole. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what was funny? One of the funniest parts for me was when Whistler, because okay, first of all, it's so fucking easy to kill Blade at this point. Like the vampires are fucking stupid, man. Like just shoot him in the fucking head, right? Shoot him. Why are you going fisticuffs with him? You know he's gonna beat your ass. But when Whistler gets taken out, right, and right before he shoots himself, he is absolutely covered in blood. Bunch of wounds, and Blade comes with like a 3x3 gauze pad and starts dabbing it. And I was like, "What the fuck are you doing with that, Blade? This guy's bleeding to death. He's got this little fucking thing." I thought it was like they could have got a shirt, they could have got something, but they went that route. I thought it was hilarious.
So just to answer your first question, so Blade does regenerate, just very slowly. So he could
Set off.
essentially survive, like something like that. It just,
They're not trying hard enough. Why? Okay, if someone's like gonna literally beats all your guys' asses every single time, don't ever try to fight this guy again. Just shoot his ass or break into his house because he has to sleep too.
Yeah. I will say we complain about time a lot, and this movie does clock in at 2 hours. I feel like it could have been cut a little bit, but I was never really bored because I feel like they kept the action sequences, like it was a pretty good frenetic pace where like there's always like a good action sequences coming like within 10 or 15 minutes, which I thought was really good.
Yeah, it moves along.
Mhm.
I thought Deacon Frost's dentures needed some work because you can totally tell he was wearing the mouthpiece. They had like a line. Yeah. What do you guys think about his mom being alive still? I thought that was stupid as fuck too.
I mean, I was okay with the mom being alive. I was not okay with the mom being so fucking sexually attracted to her son in that one scene. Like, what the fuck is that about?
Yeah, that was a bit weird. I assume it's like to say like once you turn, like you aren't who you were, like in that, like in your past life, I guess. I feel like it's kind of what they were going with that, because like it wasn't really his mother anymore. But like I don't know. That it was slightly confusing because like when I saw her for the first time, I didn't think it was his mother. When she like comes out of the bed and I'm like, "Oh, is that supposed to be someone that sort of looks like the mother?" And then like it's revealed that it's the mother later on. I was okay with it. Like I didn't think it was like stupid. It was like a decent, I guess, twist. So yeah, I didn't hate it.
Yeah. What about the twist that Deacon is essentially Blade's father at this point because he's the one that bit the mom's neck, and somehow they pieced it all together, even though Blade was like 13 years homeless before Westler found him. You guys feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's still not his father, right? Because
Well, I
like
mean, the vampire bite
right,
turned him
like the
into.
vampire. So he's like, yeah. I mean, it was all right. I mean, it made sense, right? Like you had to connect them, so I guess some way, somehow. Yeah. I mean, it was fine. It
And
wasn't like a huge thing for me, but it
yeah, I
was all
mean,
right.
if you bring in the mom, it makes sense that he's the one who brought in the mom, right? Because if he's the one who like killed her, he went to pick her up. As we saw in a lot of vampire movies, you're kind of attached to the people that you turned in some way. You know, it's like just one of those things in vampire movies. Which another thing about vampire movies, which I love so much, that they started doing in the '90s, or at least to my memory, they started doing in the '90s. They always have some smart ass scene where they explain the rules of that universe. Like they always have like garlic that doesn't work in real life, or crowd crucifixes that doesn't work in real life. Like every movie in that time had some kind of like you're such an idiot for thinking like this particular part of vampires, but this part, yeah, that's real. So this movie does it too with the crucifixes, saying that doesn't do anything, but garlic is like a real thing. So I thought that was interesting that all the movies did it at that time.
Yeah. I also liked how like the vampires like had control over a lot of city, like how they were basically like paying off cops or like promising like cops like, they were basically like the familiars and stuff like that. So there was sort of that like dirty underbelly. It was very yeah, I mean, it was very like Batman-esque in some ways. I agree with. Which are they both DC? I assume.
No,
Is
he's
Blade?
Blade's
Oh,
Marvel.
Blade's Marvel. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, see, I'm not a comic book guy. Sorry, guys.
What about? I had a question about the mom. Why did she essentially save Blade's life by giving him her blood and then turn on him immediately and like start fighting him?
I
I
don't
don't
remember.
even,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
even
remember
remember
that.
this scene.
You
Yeah.
know? She gives him blood, right? At the end where he's all fucking fucked up.
No, that's the other
No,
girl.
that's the other girl.
Oh, that's the other girl?
Yeah,
Oh, man.
we're both confused. Like, what?
That's his girlfriend.
Never
Or
mind.
whoever. Very sexual scene, I gotta say. Like it almost like they were fucking in that moment. Like it was
Oh,
like
when he howls
it was like
afterwards too. He's
penetrating and
"Ugh."
shit. It was like they were like penetrating. I was like, it was a very sensual
Oh.
scene for taking blood, I gotta say.
So, Joe, I have a question specifically for you.
Okay.
So there's a scene in a subway in this where they fight. And
Yes.
there's some pretty cool sequences. And there was a scene in particular where they like lay up against the wall and the train like just basically misses them, right? Did that trigger you in any way? Because you've talked about it in the past that that's something you deal with in real life
Yes.
often-ish. So I was curious. Immediately I I have to ask Joe about this. Like, did this?
Yeah. It definitely didn't trigger me. But I was like, oh, like this is like interesting, and I was thinking like, is this possible? It seemed like there was a lot of space in between the train and her, especially when she was sort of in the like dead zone is what we would call it there. But like the third rail, I think they should have had some of those like vampires landing on the third rail and like burst into flames,
Yeah,
which would
I
have been
agree.
fucking pretty
Yeah.
cool. Like that would have been really cool. But yeah, for the most part, it seemed mostly accurate. I will say I feel like when she like fell down in between, he definitely wouldn't be able to pull her up in between the train coming by and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, hell no. They would have either had to have wait for that train to pass or she would have been dead.
Yeah, and I love this movie, so I hate to complain so much about it. But one scene that made me fucking cringe is when the purebred vampires turn into fucking like ghost bats. I just like, oh god, that looked like shit, and I don't know why they
Yeah,
did that.
that was probably the worst like CGI moment. I also didn't love like how like they turned into like when some of them got killed, how they turned into like these like blood blobs or whatever. It was cool when they exploded and it was like all
Yeah.
the blood and stuff. I just feel like I just feel like they wanted to try to introduce some of the like I guess comic book stuff into the movie, but it just didn't work like tonally with the rest of the movie.
I did like it when Deacon Frost turns into the blob and then like explodes just because he was so like fucking deformed and
Yeah.
kind of reminded me of that fucking movie where I don't remember. Yeah, it's just a really cool look. But to me, the worst CGI was not the bats. It was Deacon Frost reconstructing with the blood like thing, especially when he's like ripped in half and you see like this really fucking awful CGI blood connecting him back together and his arm like reforming. I was like, oh man, ouch.
You know what I really liked was how they explained some of the vampires when they turned into like kind of like zombies, essentially. And we see her ex from the beginning where she's working in the blood lab. He's like turned in like a cellar kind of thing. And they throw her down there and he's like basically like falling apart. I thought that was a really cool scene.
I have to address something now because I haven't seen any of the sequels to this movie, and we might review Blade 2, it sounds like, at some point, but I just need to know, if you don't want to tell me, I guess, and let me wait, but how the fuck does Whistler come back
So-
in the sequel?
Quite simply, you don't actually watch him kill himself in the movie.
Ah,
It's
okay.
a shot of his hand just falling.
Yeah, right,
So
right,
dumb.
right.
So
That's
he decides
sweet.
not to go through with it and eventually survives his ordeal.
All
So,
right,
there
okay.
you go. Spoiler.
All right. What'd you guys think of the ending? I thought it was anticlimactic. I wanted to see this god deity thing. I still think it was like a decent enough like ending, but I felt like we needed more. Especially when they're talking about this, it's coming, it's the fucking end of the world type thing,
Yeah. I thought the fight scene itself was kind of lackluster. It looks like they were just clanking swords together at some point, just as fast as possible. And it was just kind of whatever.
Yeah, I agree. I think the idea was that the god went in him. That's why his eyes were red and he could like reform himself and stuff like that. But it would have been cooler if you had, I guess, a like uber vampire, which spoiler does come into play later, but just not in this one. It would have
All
been
right.
a better ending though if we got something a little bit more meat to it.
All right. I think we pretty much covered it. You guys want to rate this sucker unless you got something else?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. I'll start us off. Yeah, man, it's a fun movie. Like, right? Like, I feel like this is a great one to just kind of even throw on the background or watch with a group of friends, have some beers or something like that. Great popcorn flick. Wesley Snipes kills it as Blade. Great action sequences. Yeah, there's some issues here, no doubt about that. And that's why, it definitely knocks my score down a bit. But I definitely enjoyed it. I give it a 3.5 out of 5.
All right. And I had a great time with this, man. It's full blood. Wesley Snipes is dope as hell. Vampires, whenever they're like evil and not like sexy vampires, is always really effective. So I like that in this one. I thought Steven Dorff was passable. There was some fucking goofy ass choices. Mainly, I can go out in the sun with some SPF and I'm fine. But overall, I thought it was a really fun ride, and I give it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, and I have fond memories of this, so a lot of nostalgia. I still appreciate for what it is. Has it aged like amazingly? In some ways, yes, in some ways, no. But I still enjoyed the hell out of it. Even at a 2-hour runtime, I still kind of wasn't bored watching it. So I also give it a 4 out of 5. It's a good one.
Excellent. And it appears Letterboxd kind of jiving with me a little bit. Currently sitting at a 3.4 out of 5 over on the Letterboxd average. Alrighty. Well, I think that's about going to wrap it up for this week's episode. Next week, what do we got, Steve?
Well, it's a big one. And it's a big one because we are doing the remake of The Hills Have Eyes. However, little asterisk, very important one. We will be joined by a very special guest, as we will have the amazing Vanessa Shaw on the episode as an interview. We did talk to her last year with the rest of the Hocus Pocus cast, but last year, when we talked to them first, there were 4 of them, so we couldn't have in-depth conversations, but also they're on the writer's strike, so they couldn't talk about anything. But this time, we can talk about stuff, and join us for that very special interview and that episode, because that's Hills Have Eyes remake is quite the film. So, yeah, it'll be a good one.
Yes. Yeah, I'm very excited for that. We're actually doing the interview pretty much right after we record this episode. So definitely excited to talk to Vanessa. I have a lot to talk. I know I'm going to have to cut my questions down, Steve, already. Cause I was like, dang, she's done a lot, man. Like the fact she worked with Kubrick alone, I'm going to throw a Kubrick question in for her. Hills Have Eyes remake, of course, Hocus Pocus, amongst a few other horror movies. She actually did a vampire movie not too long, a few years back called The Family Blood, I believe it was called. So you can check that out as well. So yeah, definitely check out next week. You can go and watch. I'm sure it's streaming somewhere. I haven't looked it up, but Hills Have Eyes remake, directed by Alexander Aja. So go and check it out for next week. In the meantime, you can keep up with the podcast, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads. Just search the Horror Squad Podcast. You can also email us anytime, thehorrorsquadpodcast@gmail.com. But you know it. We've said it earlier. The absolute best way to keep up with the podcast is our Discord, completely free to join. It's linked over on our Instagram, or you can send us a DM or an email. We'll get you a link to join that Discord, because it is going to be very important because of our movie project that is coming up very soon. We're going to give Discorders, is that what you call them? Discorders? I just made that word up. We're going to give the Discorders first access to pretty much everything involving the movie, behind the scenes stuff and everything. So definitely join the Discord, especially if you're interested in following our movie project. Also, if you haven't already, leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. It helps the podcast greatly to grow. Or if you can buy some merch, tpublic.com, the Horror Squad Podcast. Show support. Wear a t-shirt. Tell your friends. We appreciate it. And don't forget, Hocus Pocus weekend. That's one of the reasons we're having Vanessa on, of course, October 11th through the 13th. It's just a bunch of Halloween weekend in Salem, Massachusetts. Whole weekend of events planned. The whole squad will be there. You can head to itsjustabunchofhalloween.com for any and all details. And that's it, folks. We'll see you next week for the Hills Have Eyes remake. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.